This is the USAACE-8, 8 minutes with an Army aviation subject matter expert. Let's fly with a topic, the Unit Trainer Evaluator Initiative.
My name is Lieutenant Colonel Jamie LaValley. I am the Director of Evaluations and Standardization, or DES.
I am CW5 Ryan Dechent, the DES Standardization Officer.
I'm Major Brian Silva, the Deputy Director of DES.
Where did this program come from? What's different about it than the UT program, and why does this matter?
This program came from Army Aviation looking to increase the tactical knowledge of our instructor pilot corps through formal instruction. In that venue, we looked to change the content of the instructor pilot course. In order to do that, we had to, in many ways, offload what they are currently doing in IPC on other aviators. We established this program through looking at other services who had very similar programs or basic instructor type programs, and we modeled it on those programs. Why does this program matter, and what will it do? So what this program will do will change the instruction that we provide in IPC to provide a much more tactical focus. And this matters because what we currently do for our tactical instruction is primarily through the AMSO course, which is not a flight course. This will very much complement what the AMSO course, or Aviation Mission Survivability Officers course, provides for our AMSO tracked officers through providing very similar instruction but tactical flight instruction as well to defeat threats that are taught in the AMSO course, so our instructor pilot corps can really react to what the AMSO's knowledge provides them.
Where did you come up with this idea?
We looked across the other services as we established looking to provide more tactical instruction for Army aircrew through a more standardized format. We looked at the other services and how they provided instruction for their aviators, and this was something that was modeled in various other services. The Marine Corps has a version of this. The Air Force has depending on the community, has a quite similar version to this as well, where they have different levels of instructor that are able to be created in the unit level by other instructor pilots or other trainers to create almost a tiered level of instruction between what we currently have as pilot in command and what we currently think of as instructor pilot.
What will this change about Army aviation?
What we'd like this to change is what we've seen in other services. As we've traveled around and we've sent guys out to MOTS, or the Marine Corps Weapons School in Yuma, to the Air Force Weapons School in Nellis. We've had guys attend MOTS previously from DES. And we've also visited various Air Force Weapons Officer schools, which is the senior level instructor schools that are really solely about tactical employment and usually much larger force employment for aerial flight in missions and maneuver and training in a way that we don't really replicate that anywhere. The thought is that the same structure provided through what will be the tactics instructor course here at Fort Rucker, modified from the instructor pilot course, via offloading many of the base level skills that are currently taught in that course through the UTE program, will enhance the lethality overall and survivability of Army aviators and prepare us more for large-scale combat operations and the conflict which will come in the future.
For Major Silva here as well, I think it's important to highlight the idea that you're going to open up the aperture for who's able to be a trainer and an evaluator in formations throughout the Army. So really, you're going to be able to train more and train more frequently as well.
What does the training consist of, and how is it structured?
Training's delivered different from the instructor pilot course, where students show up for a series of months to learn all of the tasks and skills required for them for their duty position. The UTE program is intended to be done at the unit. It starts out with a common academics module, which involves tasks and subjects like fundamentals of instruction and aerodynamics. Then it progresses into standardized flight training modules. The standardized modules are day tasks, night and night vision device tasks, instrument tasks, and for Apache air crews, it includes a gunnery tasks module as well. Those are standardized with mandatory task repetitions throughout each of them. There's also a specialized task module that units can develop on their own, which will really allow them to train unique skill sets required for their aviators at their individual locations.
Where are you now in the testing of this program?
CW5 Dechent. So we've just completed a first validation at 1st Armored Division at Fort Bliss, Texas, on 5 candidates, all in the day module. And that gave us the tangible touch points and objective feedback that we needed to see that the modules themselves, along with all of the correspondent or pieces of it, were where they needed to be. And it was very important to go ahead and see it tested in a FORCE-COM unit. So that way we knew that it was something that was attainable, that would be able to compete against some of the op-tempo restrictions or constraints that units typically face.
How did the first jumpstart validation go?
Mr. Dechent again. It went very well. The unit did its due diligence and selected the right candidates. They went ahead and protected the time for those candidates, which is a key element for success as well. And were able to go ahead and structure their training and allow us the protected time with those candidates, along with one of their standardization officers to participate in the training to get that feedback that we needed.
What comes next after the validation?
So we're going to continue additional validation events at other cabs. Our next one is with 10th Mountain Division, Fort Drum, New York, where we're going to do 7 UTE candidates, again in the day module, and then 16th cab at JBLM, where we're going to be doing the specialized module with a focus on AMS evaluators as a result of that.
Is there anything else essential to know about the initiative?
UTE, the Unit Trainer Evaluator Initiative, is tied to a much larger tactics initiative to increase and enhance Army Aviation's tactical abilities. So while this is an improvement on the current UT program, what the current UT program enables is an individual, he or she, if signed off as a UT, can go out and train, but they cannot sign off anyone in tasks. The UTE now allows them to train and evaluate, effectively filling the role where an instructor pilot currently has to do. So in terms of time spent, it's going to take much of the time that our current IPs spend through progressions, training flights, APARTs, anything like that. And those flights can now be done by UTEs, which will free up those instructor pilots to do the tactical missions, which, as we've seen across the Army, we've all experienced in FORCE-COM units ourselves sitting in this room, we've seen it where instructor pilots are often doing progressions and doing the very basic bits of instruction, whereas these are our finest aviators. They're our most experienced aviators. They're the ones that we need leading the missions from the front. And usually they're either not in the mission or they're there at the last minute right before the mission starts. And we've seen it, as recently as last week. And we're in Fort Drum. We talked through it. It was a challenge they were going through based on what we were seeing them do for their own training. And that's what this program is designed to do. It is designed to really restructure the time our instructor pilots have to focus on tactical employment and then make their units better overall. And UTE is an essential building block to make that whole tactics piece come together.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the USAACE-8, brought to you by the United States Army Aviation Center of Excellence.